Hello everyone. This video is for January 15th, which was the Green Day Friday, and January 19th, which is the normal red day on Tuesdays. Now, this is a little off because we did not have school on the 18th, the Monday. So my green days, this was what you did on a Friday. So we start with bikini bottom genetics. It's really just more practice in not just Punnett squares, but also do you know what heterozygous versus homozygous means and genotype versus phenotype? It's a lot of practice with those. And then we're going to end with the checkpoint. And I put quiz in quotations because it's a Canvas quiz, but it's not a quiz. It's just a checkpoint to see, are you understanding what we're doing? What do you still need help with? That sort of stuff. So moving to our Canvas page, you can find this under modules. So it is going to be under week 3, even though for green days it was Friday of week 2, but week 3, bikini bottom genetics, more practice. So you're going to click on this link and it's going to make a copy. It'll open up to this. So it looks long, but it's really not. It's a lot of tables. And it's very simple things of genetics, of the parts of genetics that we have learned so far. It's just practice, making sure that you understand what all the words are. So for number 1, you're going to look at all of these genotypes. So for each genotype below, indicate whether it is heterozygous or homozygous. So you're going to look at these and knowing what each of those words mean. If you still need a little help, I have notes on Canvas and I talk about them in my other videos. But for each genotype, you're going to put homozygous or heterozygous. You can either put hetero or homo too. Doesn't matter as long as you're very clear as to which one you are talking about. So you're going to do that for all of these. For these questions down here, you're going to look at all of these genotypes and tell me which ones would be considered purebred and which ones would be considered hybrid. So in previous videos or notes, we have talked about how we also can use the words heterozygous, or we can also use the words purebred and hybrid to talk about homozygous or heterozygous genotypes. So do you know which ones they are? So you're just going to write down some examples here. Some of these examples here and here. For number 2, you're going to determine the phenotype for each genotype using the information. So here we have 3 genotypes. We have homozygous dominant, heterozygous, and homozygous recessive. And here it tells you that the yellow body color is dominant to brown. So it's almost like it tells us that the dominant allele is yellow and the recessive is brown. So is this individual with this genotype going to be yellow or brown? Is this individual with this genotype going to be yellow or brown? Is this individual going to be yellow or brown? Same thing with this one, except you're using square shape versus round shape. Dummy, square around, square around, square around. For number 3, you're going to do very similar to number 2, but literally the opposite. So instead of being given the genotype, you're going to have to write down the genotype for the phenotype. So for each phenotype, give the genotype. So again, you have the 3 options: homozygous dominant, heterozygous, and homozygous recessive. And here it tells us that a tall head is dominant to short. So which of these genotypes would give us a tall-headed Patrick, and which one would give us a short-headed Patrick? Okay, same with this one, except instead of the head, we're looking at body color. So which genotypes would be pink, which genotypes would be yellow? For number 4, this is just like our Punnett practice. I've given you this problem. There's SpongeBob SquarePants met Sponge Susie Round Pants. And if they had babies, what would they look like? Would they have square pants or round pants? So here's Sponge's genotype, SpongeBob's genotype. Here's Sponge Susie's genotype. So fill in these boxes just like a normal Punnett square. Down here, I ask the same questions as I did in the Punnett practice. What are all the possible genotypes of their children? So which ones do you see in these boxes? What are the possible phenotypes? So physical characteristics, what do they look like? What are the chances that the child will have square shape? So if it's 2 out of 4, what is that in a percentage? 50%, that kind of idea. And same with what are the chances of getting a round shape? So a lot of just practicing with your vocab and Punnett squares and how to read them. When you're done with the bikini bottom genetics, you're going to turn that in. And I do suggest doing this part after you finish that, just because you want to get as much practice as possible. But the last thing is that checkpoint. So underneath the bikini bottom genetics is a vocab and Punnett squares checkpoint. It is under Canvas quizzes, but again, it's just checking to see how you're doing. It's 9 questions. There is a time limit, but there's no access code. So make sure to sit down when you have some time after you did your assignments. And just take it. Yep. If you have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to let me know.